Claude Opus 5 just shipped. Anthropic's new flagship delivers nearly all the intelligence of Fable 5 at about half the price. Here's the strange part. The headline feature is a dial that lets you make the model dumber on purpose. It's called an effort setting, low, medium, or high. And you trade intelligence for speed and token savings. Why would a flagship ship that? Stay with me. First, what it is. Opus 5 is Anthropic's top Opus tier model, aimed at coding, enterprise work, and scientific research. It's their fourth release in under 2 months, after Mythos 5, Fable 5, and Sonnet 5 in June. So, what makes this one worth the pace? Now the vitals. Price first, because it's the whole story. Opus 5 costs $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output, unchanged from the older Opus 4.8. For comparison, Fable 5 runs about 10 and 50, roughly double the cost for slightly more brains. Context window. Reportedly 1 million tokens, with an extra high X-high effort mode. But note, that spec isn't officially confirmed. It leaked from a honeycomb entry that briefly appeared in the cursor model picker on July 9th, then vanished, treated as unofficial until Anthropic states it. Back to that effort dial. It's the point of the whole release. Most valuable AI work doesn't need the bleeding edge. It needs good enough, cheap enough, every day. The dial lets you spend more only when the task is hard. That's the pivot from raw power to cost per task. One more spec, and it's quietly big. Anthropic says Opus 5 verifies its own work and recovers from errors without you stepping in. Less back and forth, fewer no, try again rounds. The model checks its own homework, which changes how much it actually costs to finish a job. Here's the proof. And these are early access customer numbers, not Anthropic's own. Harvey, a legal AI firm, says Opus 5 matched Opus 4.8's max reasoning using 26% fewer tokens. Fundamental Research Lab reports 1/3 fewer turns and 60% less time on hard financial modeling, cheaper per finished task. On benchmarks, Anthropic calls it state-of-the-art for coding, and knowledge work on tests called Frontier Bench and GDP Val AA. Zapier says it topped their automation bench without spending more tokens. But those scores are vendor reported. Independent verification hasn't landed yet. And that gap matters, as you'll see. Access is simple. Opus 5 is the new default on Claude Max, the strongest option on Claude Pro, and live on the API at that $5 and $25 pricing today. No waitlist. If you already pay for Claude, you can use it right now. Here's the catch. The launch soft pedals. Opus 5 is deliberately not state-of-the-art on risky dual-use tasks like cybersecurity. It trails Anthropic's own Mythos 5 there, by design. And OpenAI's GPT-5.6. Sol reportedly beat Fable 5 by 11.4 points at a quarter of the cost. Opus 5 isn't the cheapest. So who should care? Adopt now if you run coding, enterprise automation, or scientific research at scale. The self-verification and effort dial cut, real cost per task. Wait, if you need the absolute cheapest tokens or independent benchmarks first. This is Anthropic optimizing for the everyday middle, not the peak. One more thing to watch. Anthropic is prepping a possible IPO later this year. and Opus 5 is the model that has to prove the economics. If this video helped, subscribe. We cut the noise on every major AI drop.